Welcome everyone to the Island Life Podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 47 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 9 seasons under her belt, and
Welcome back, everyone.
of course, we also welcome the star of our show. He is the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his first season. I give you Survivor F.
What's going on, everyone? Another session with Survivor F.
Indeed, you thought you could escape us, but now you are here for a long time.
Yay!
Yeah, I had to sign a contract, so here I am.
A 30-year contract.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't see an end date, so it's unfortunate.
Just like Survivor, just like Jeff Probst will never leave Survivor. Survivor F will never leave the island.
Mm-hmm.
That will forever be my name, Survivor F.
Let's effing go.
We have just transitioned into the merge time of season 7, and I would like to mix it up this time. So before we get into our first episode, we just watched half a season of Survivor. So what are some of your thoughts?
I like it. I think it's different. I like the theme. The pirate theme really held up to me, and I enjoy it. I haven't seen a pirate theme unless it's just a one-time thing. It'll never come back. I really like some of the people. I think it's very different seeing the challenges, which I've been enjoying compared to the current ones I've seen.
Yeah, I gotta agree there. I do also like the pirate theme. One thing that I noticed was when we were starting out, I didn't really hit my stride with these cast of survivors, kind of like I did in the other season, season 47, as we were watching it. But they've started to grow on me more and more with these recent episodes. And there's a couple of survivors I'm definitely more enjoyable to follow their storylines and kind of see how they progress. So it is growing on me. I still would say at this point in time, if I was to compare this to the other season that I watched, I did like season 47 slightly more. So
You did.
not a bad season overall, but it has slowly been getting better for me.
Nice. Do you think you like the other season more because of the people, like the survivor people itself? You had more of a connection with them because you get to know them a little bit more?
I wouldn't say it was a connection. It was more that there were personalities that were just more entertaining to follow. There were characters who had some interesting dynamics with one another. Whereas I think if you were to compare it to the tribes that we see here, Morgan and Drake, there's times where you just don't know what's happening with certain cast members, and that could be a format for how the show is running because these episodes are smaller in size. So it seems like they have to do more with less time, and that's part of the reason why we're doing multiple episodes per our own podcast episodes. So it seems like there's just a lot that's happening, the pacing, and you could just miss some stuff. Whereas compared to season 47, I thought things were progressing in a slow enough manner where you got to understand each survivor's point of view. You could try to see how they were trying to formulate their strategies a little bit better, and I like that.
Mm.
Particularly last season, as in 47, we did get a lot of people's side of the stories, and we when it was all said and done, there was a lot of loud personalities that I think we'll remember for a while at least. In season 7, we really had like half a dozen at most main characters, probably less than that. And it's only been half the season, so we'll see. But another thing that's been different is you've really, both of you have really almost exclusively seen 3 tribes seasons. which is not. I mean, for the rest of our longtime fans, the three tribe is the weird version, and the two tribes is the normal version. And for you guys, it's flipped. So we're merged now. So we're back to familiar territory. Any early feelings on a preference, two tribes versus three tribes?
Uh, you go because I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah, but my comment was gonna be short and sweet. I just don't really have a I don't really have a thought on it. I was never thinking too much about it. I just took it in stride and said, okay, that's how the show is. And I, regardless of how many different tribes there are, I'm looking more to how many contestants there are. So we can at least have some nice pacing of this person's getting eliminated from one tribe compared to the other. So I didn't pay too much attention to it, to be honest.
I think I watched more three tribes than two. So I personally like the three because I'm used to it. And I think there's different, like one extra different dynamic because you could see all three tribes are very different. I think that's what I personally prefer, the three tribes versus the two. I don't know. There's just I feel like Morgan and Drake are so different of a tribe that it's cool to watch, but it would be cool to see like a third tribe come in and that are not outcasts or you know.
I was about to say, as a matter of fact, we did get a third tribe.
Yes.
Plot twist.
I know, right? I was shocked. I'm still shocked about that, the fact that they brought the dead back.
Yeah, from Survivor's Past come back, and we'll get more into this season goes on. But great transition. The first episode 8, which is called, I will tell you, it is called Swimmin'. Wait, oh no, not that's the future. I take it back.
Drum roll, please.
It's actually called Shocking, Simply Shocking.
Oh,
And
I get it. Wait.
yeah, and that's how it felt, right? Like
Yes. Oh
if you
wait,
were to ask me,
wait before I get into it. Uh, sorry, well I got messed up because it was a two-parter. Silly Survivor Wiki. That was the ninth episode. Shocking, simply shocking. The eighth episode, this is a little bit better, is called "What the Part 2."
I mean,
That's funny.
to be honest, both titles could apply, and I wouldn't be too surprised. But if you going back to your original question, if you were to ask me in terms of my thoughts on having a third tribe for this episode, then that's something I actually have some thoughts on. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's where your question was heading, but just to kind of compound on that a little bit more, I I'm not really a fan of that. You know, I don't like the fact that you're going through the show and at least with how these seasons have gone so far, you have an understanding of it's do or die for me and my tribe. And I have to build strategy with how I'm going to make it to the end. And I have to figure out who I'm going to work well with, who I'm going to work against. And you have to be cutthroat in certain regards and to figure out a way to get someone out only to then find out, oh, they have a second opportunity to come back in. I personally would like that, obviously, if I was in the show myself, but just kind of watching, I think, you know, it's a do or die situation. So it's better left that like they had that one opportunity and that's all they needed. So it didn't sit right with me that they got a second opportunity. And then on top of that, you know, whatever other benefits could come with it.
Yeah,
I
you had a week
kinda
to kind of let it marinate. Like you
yeah.
watched it, you reacted to it. Maybe you were excited, maybe not. But now we're really watching the impact for the rest of the game that this is gonna take.
Yeah, butterfly effect, if you will. I kinda like it. I'm the a little bit of the opposite. As a player, if I was any of the members, I would hate it. I would absolutely hate it because it's unfair. They lost, they need to get out. But as a viewer, I'm having the time of my life. That's amazing. The people that were kicked out, whether it be fair or unfair, has another chance. They fought their way. It's not like they're back. They fought there. They won. They beat both of those tribes. They went from being in the bottom of the bottom to winning, so they deserve their spot back. And them being back allows them to play it differently. And they have to play their game well because it's not a freebie either, though, because they're back later on the game. It's been like what, like 20 something days. and they
Yeah.
don't have that bond like other people do. So they really have to make their way through it. It's not an easy feat, I think.
I think part of my negative conclusion with this is just that I'm looking at it future focused, right? I'm looking at it in the sense that if this is the precedent that you're setting for the show, then it means that if I'm a survivor going in, I have something to fall back to. Like, it doesn't matter if I get eliminated, if I just get a second opportunity to be able to pull myself back into the game. Now, mind you, I have to I have to put an effort into coming back. I'm not just handed a chance to come back, but still the fact that I got eliminated, but I'm not actually eliminated, I think to me that speaks volumes. It's not something I would want in a show if regardless of if I feel like I got eliminated fairly or unfairly. That's going to happen in every season. There's going to be a contestant who it feels like just was out for really callous reasons or reasons that most of the public are not going to agree with. I just think for making a more efficient show, something more enjoyable, something where there's added tension, it should be do or die.
Yeah, and they thought it was that, right? It's not like it. Now, maybe some people would prefer this, but they could have designed the season with on day one, Jeff tells them that the first six people will have an opportunity to get back in the game. And that would have felt like something very different. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. But at least we got we got Survivor played the way it always was. Everyone acted like it was do or die, and then after the fact realized that actually, oh, there's a second chance, but I mean the damage is done, and then you come back in the game. Like if I will reveal nothing, but if in 4 episodes the outcasts come back again, I don't think anyone would enjoy that.
So
Yeah.
with the thought on the outcasts and how the episode started, there was a vote that the outcasts had to make in order to be able to bring two of the outcasts back for the rest of the groups and back into their original tribes. What were your thoughts on the process for the voting there? Would you feel like they did it the best they could, or do you think there was another opportunity to be able to do that? To bring the outcasts back, I mean.
I imagine the only real two ways is either you vote or you fight. So like a challenge. I imagine those are the two schools of thought, and I think I enjoyed how it played out. They because especially because these outcasts competed as a team, and as a team they pick two champions to go on to represent them. I think that carries a theme, the little 2 episode arc for them, rather
Well,
than them compete with like a 6-way challenge, as Hugo said.
Agreed. Definitely a feel good moment.
yeah. Would it be more fun if the outcast got to eliminate the other people, like the other tribes, versus the other tribes get to pick which outcast to come back? Would that be a little different? Would that be more fun? More spicy?
Are you saying if like the 6 of them vote, like they voted for someone to be eliminated?
Yes. And then the other, like, the Morgan and Drake tribe gets to pick the person they wanna pull in, because that's a strategic move on their end too, to be like, who would be the one they want to come back and to work with, or what they deem as easily, like, to quote unquote "manipulate" maybe, or I don't know. I'm just curious, like, just a little change of would that make it more fun, more interesting, like, more, like, digestible for, like, F who didn't like this part of, like, the survivors, like, the outcast coming back.
Can you just explain that a little bit more? Just to make sure I'm understanding that clearly. Are you saying that the outcasts are voting to eliminate someone from their own tribe, or are you saying they're eliminating someone from the other tribes?
The other tribe, so they like, the out like, you know how they won, right? So the
Yes.
outcast can vote out the Morgan tribe, one person from Morgan tribe and one person from the Drake tribe, versus the Drake and Morgan tribe does the opposite. They vote somebody within the outcast to come back.
I would have to think about that. I think
I
I don't necessarily hate the approach they took with the voting. Like, I could see the thought process behind it. I think that would be giving them a lot of power if they're able to eliminate someone from the other tribes, because I'm of the thought that they shouldn't even be back in the game.
Gotcha.
But
Okay. Okay.
But what I will say is, one thing that I think could have been done better is, I like what Will had mentioned, where they could fight each other for who gets to win it. I think that to me is a little bit more digestible in terms of, I'm really clawing my way back here. So like after they go into tribal, there's some other sort of challenge within that tribal that essentially selects the winner rather than them voting amongst each other. These are the final two that we're gonna bring back to their tribes.
I see what you're
Their
saying.
own fire-making challenge, so to say.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. You're down for the fire making challenge. I like it.
That would be fun. That'd be fun.
It would be crazy. Your idea, Ange, I think I actively dislike it.
Oh,
I would
okay.
not want to. I would not like seeing the things as the Drake and Morgan tribe have the power taken out of their hands, and they get voted out not by their peers, but by people who are not even going to be in the game because
But they
for them
lost. They deserved it.
they lost. They lost the challenge. True. It's a severe punishment for losing.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fair. Okay. I'm just
Now the voting someone in, maybe that's just what they should have done though. Like maybe, well, because then it's a crazy twist that disadvantages the Drake and Morgan tribe, but then they get to pick who goes in, and maybe they're on the same page, maybe not. I think I would have liked to see that. That would have been an interesting
Y-
way to treat it.
yeah, especially because everybody that comes like the people that came back, they're upset with their former tribe mates because they voted them out. But what a twist would be if it's like they voted them out, but they're also the people that voted them back in to resurrect them. Be a little twist.
I
Yeah.
think a good twist for that I would enjoy would be, take that concept, but rather than return the survivors back to their original tribe, you could return them to the opposing tribe.
They like zoomed past it a little quick, but they picked out of a hat. They picked which buff they're gonna get at random. It so happened that they got their former tribes
Ah, I see, okay.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I thought
because they
they picked their back to their
because
own. I didn't realize that.
because
Yeah,
right,
good
like
catch.
two original Drakes could have been voted back in, or two original Morgans. So in that case, one of them is not going back to the original tribe.
Oh, I for some reason thought everybody was supposed to vote one former Drake tribe and one former Morgan tribe. I thought that was why it was happening. Oh man, so Ryan's shoulders could have came back. Oh, now I'm even more sad.
They could have got two
One day.
votes.
One day.
Oh,
He'll have his moment.
Yeah,
48 Ryan shoulders. I'll see you there.
But the group got together and decided that they'll decide to bring back Burton, who made a really good case for himself. He came through and said, "Hey, listen, guys, I'm in this for the long haul. Whatever we do, I'm going to be very competitive, and not only that, whoever joins me, whoever's going to be coming back with me, I'm going to put my trust in them, and we'll make it towards the end." And I remember from their dialogues that, like, his own explanation came off as the strongest, whereas the others were just reiterating that, "Hey, I got eliminated. It wasn't a good opportunity for myself. I can do better, and I need to prove myself by coming back into the game." And for us as the viewers, we already understand that. So being able to have someone provide a little bit more of a meaningful, "I believe in myself" response, I think that stuck out to me. And to me, I immediately, as they started getting into voting, I was of the thought that, yeah, Burton was definitely going to be one of the people selected back. He made a really good case for himself relative to his peers.
I definitely agree on that. I think out of anybody, he did the best to persuade somebody. Um, I unfortunately didn't even recall what Ryan Shoulder said because I was like, "Oh, Ryan, come on." But I think, yeah, he, out of anybody, Burton did the best because if I was someone that was voting, I would wanna vote for someone that I could potentially work with if I get voted back in too.
Yeah. Yeah, he threw the component of "you can trust me" that no other person really thought of, and to paraphrase, I got a bit of what Ryan was saying too. To paraphrase, he was just saying that, like, you guys know that I love Survivor. My heart is in
Oh,
this
right.
game, and I'm gonna come back to prove it.
Oh, Ryan, you sweet pea.
And then, yeah, moving on from Burton, the other player who got selected was a little bit of a surprise to me, but, in thinking about it a little bit more, she also, she had a good enough opportunity. She's one of the players you could have said that got put out unfairly, and, we do recall you had mentioning that her fire didn't completely burn out, so, do you wanna speak a little bit more to that, Ange?
I am shocked. I'm shocked because I think for the entire podcast, I've been joking around how Lillian's fire did not get snuffed out originally and Jeff had to do it again, and that she deserved her to be back, and oh my. I wish you guys could see my face when I was watching it. I was, like, shocked, like, my jaw to the ground. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, she might come back." And then this episode, she does come back. I'm just shocked. I'm shocked. I mean, if it was you 2, who would you be voting back in? I wouldn't vote for Lillian personally. I would be I don't know. Burton, I see as a person
I
I would
mean,
vote back in.
clearly you're voting for Ryan.
You guys know
without
it. You
without
guys know it.
question.
Ryan Shoulders, you shoulder all my love.
Yeah, Burton for me, the rest are kind of a toss-up. I can't really imagine anyone else had the second best argument, so as long as it's Burton, I guess you could say definitely not Trish for me. I felt like, yeah, she was just invisible. So process of elimination, just anyone outside of Trish, I'd be okay with.
Even Nicole?
Yeah. She got eliminated very quickly, so I think my logic for her would be very small sample size. We didn't really get to see what she did, and that was to her detriment. But then again, she also got herself eliminated. So just big enough sample size to see more of what she's capable of would be my reason for choosing her.
Okay. How about you, Will?
I imagine if I was there, it's who who do I think could win, and then do I like anybody? Like, was I friends with any of these people? So if I was on the Drake and Morgan tribe, then I'm gonna favor probably those people, unless I hate them. Like maybe I know them and I hate them, but uh, that's my criteria. My criteria is who is has a chance to win. Oh, unless I have an ally, like not just I like them, but like we were an alliance, then yeah, I would want them. I would hope I get voted in, and then vote for them to get in. And as a fan, it probably is. I'm trying to take the last two episodes out of my mind to think of what we saw. I don't think I would want Burton because I was so annoyed that he foolishly threw the challenge, and I
You
don't.
know
I was
what?
like,
You're
I
right.
don't. I didn't want him back.
I
He's
had
playing the
sudden
long game.
amnesia about that for a moment. I am not gonna lie. I forgot he did that. Now I take it back. No, Burton, you're right.
Well, I'm gonna stick
So
with Burton because I missed the episode where he was actually doing that, so I'm a little bit more favorable towards him compared to you 2.
mm,
I also feel like I do think, like, if not Burton, then I don't know who if I was there. Um, but Ryan always has my vote. And, but honestly, in the end, I'm happy to see the 2 people that got picked to be resurrected. I really think it really changed the game in a way. It really spiced it up.
yeah, and seemingly we'll see, but they're both becoming like active participants in the tribe, like in what's gonna happen. It seems. Uh, Lillian comes back, and although at first everyone's trying to put on a good face to welcome her, uh, she's still holding a grudge. Andrew is just not using tact and being honest, but brutally honest, of how much he dislikes this twist at all. And this is going to have dire consequences for all of Morgan because we not that they know for sure, but with 10 people, there's a chance the merge is coming up, and especially early Survivor, but really for all seasons of Survivor, it starts off as tribe versus tribe in the merge. So you really want to be on the same page with everybody, even Lillian, who you voted off already.
You say that the merge could happen, but I mean, who would expect that, right? Not after you get your original tribes members back. You would think that there's some sort of follow through with the dynamic between the outcasts and their original tribe, but the episode was full of surprises, and I just remember the entire time just paying attention to Lillian, seeing how excited she was getting, and she was talking about being very happy, but, like, looking at her face, it was not showing you that. But I'm glad that at least even if I didn't like the concept of them being brought back, I think that they really did show that they had the passion to fight and claw their way back in, and they were committed to seeing it through the end. So the storyline to me to follow was they're now the underdogs. Let's see how far they can take this. Let's see what they do next when they talk to the rest of the tribe. Next when they come across Jeff. Let's see if things change for them. Right. Let's see how they adapt their strategies.
Clearly, the show thought that it would be very difficult for them to survive, so they gave them immunity automatically for the first tribal council. That also that contributes to me not being a fan of this twist. Even I told you last week, while I'm watching it, I'm loving the drama. So like I'm enjoying it. And then afterwards when I think about it, I just think about how I'd just be so mad as someone in competing in the show. And now not only are they back, but they just got a free immunity. Uh it it, it stings, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I was thinking the same thing that they shouldn't be getting these advantages after initially being eliminated. But hey, what can you do? I think the silver lining is it's something fresh, being able to see it. And while it's a surprise to many, I think some viewers can enjoy that sort of randomness thrown into the game. I just think that we can set things up in a way that you don't necessarily need to give the survivors the idea that you have something to fall back to, so you don't have to worry as much about getting eliminated. I think that's where my head is. That's where my head is at when I'm thinking about it.
Now if it's a secret, like it's too dangerous to actually count on that, right? Like unless you are flat out told you will be getting a second chance. That's the theme of the season, so a second chance. Uh, it would be terrible to be like, I'm gonna do this plan. I might get voted out, but hopefully there's like this outcast twist. Like that would be a horrible uh, risk to take. So I think it's okay. It's just it puts my brain in a little bit of a pretzel when I think about it.
So then the next day rolls around and the groups get together for their challenge where Jeff, yeah, immediately announces to them that they are going to be merging together. They don't have to be eating scraps and they're off to
No,
their next challenge.
yeah, I was gonna say not before rubbing it in by first asking Drake how they've been eating, and Drake rattles off their like 3 meals a day, luxurious lifestyle, so that then then he can ask Morgan, who has run out of food officially and can't survive another day.
Yep. Truthfully, morale is low with Morgan versus Drake is like, we're just having fish all day, got beans, got some rice. There's a Taco Bell on the other side. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, seriously, right?
And look, there's another dichotomy between present day and the past. So in present day, food is really, really scarce on purpose. Like they are suffering, and maybe it doesn't get a lot of attention because we don't we don't focus a lot on tribe life. or specifically the survival aspect of tribe life anymore. 20 years later from this season, but they have barely anything. Meanwhile, in this early season, like in terms of living at the tribe, for half of them it is easy. With an asterisk, it's easy because like Rupert goes and works for it. But
Yeah,
but still, like they're just lounging around.
What
it's
can you
very
do, right?
different for sure.
What
Because
can
the
you do?
current ones, they do just all they do is eat coconut meat and little bit of rice that they can win. Like it's very different. I'm wondering. I was thinking about it. I'm wondering, like, are there no fish to catch and where they're currently at right now in the current seasons?
So in
Or
Fiji,
yeah, like are there no fish that's
they
edible?
got they got no fishing gear.
But oh, that's why I forgot. Yes. But later on, they do get fishing gear, and even with like, if you win, sometimes they have reward challenges, but, like,
Mm.
I don't see them fishing that much or eating that much fish. I'm just wondering if, the ecosystem of the fish is it different there, you know?
We've
I'm
overhunted the fish
yes,
of Fiji.
yes.
Oh
It's
no.
been 20 seasons of overhunting.
Yeah, just
Rupert's
leave it to
still there
Rupert.
hunting as we speak.
But
That's funny.
but yeah, moving on to the challenge. The challenge itself follows the theme of physically taxing challenge. Just being able to swim out onto these planks where you have to essentially run laps, multiple laps, and having everyone do that just to showcase their stamina, their endurance, their swimming ability. It was a pretty enjoyable challenge to watch, and I don't know what your thoughts on it were, but it was definitely a nail biter for me.
Yeah, it was very close. I feel like it was very close between Rupert and Bert, more close than I thought, and looked so hard. Like I can only imagine like I personally can't swim, but even if I could swim, I would jump in there and bump my head. You know, like and when you jump down, there is like this you have to go through this wooden ledge thingy, then grab the rope and and then and swim through it. I would have hit my head multiple times, suffered a concussion, pass out, died.
No.
Season over.
Season's over. The series canceled.
Yeah, canceled, like, young girl dies from, like, drowning incident.
Yeah, I know. It would be bad too because that headline would say like Castaway keel hauled, and that was the name of the challenge, keel hauling.
Oh,
And
no.
uh, yeah, no, this is another real physical challenge. Because at first they only had to do 2 laps. It's like I think I could do that because you're really just pulling. You're not even swimming. You're pulling yourself. But then five laps. That's hard.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure. Those first couple of
so
laps, you're not feeling it as much, but come the third, fourth lap, you're probably really exhausted at that point, and having to work your way, and it's a race, so the tension is just constantly creeping up on you. That hey, I need to keep moving, or I'm going to lose this immunity.
yeah, and we get our first individual immunity challenge
Mm.
winner being Burton, and so he gets double immunity, and we haven't seen it, but you can always give up your individual immunity that you win in the challenge. It's just that like why would you ever do it? It never comes up. But technically you are able to do that. So Jeff tells him like, "Oh, well, you already are immune because of the resurrection vote. So you'll have to decide will you give it up or not." Da, da, da. So that was a little interesting wrinkle. I don't know, like maybe he just thought of that on the spot or they planned for that, but it doesn't end up impacting anything, and so he'll end up giving it to Rupert at Tribal. But at the time, I was like, okay, like building a bond with Rupert. Is this one of the like a tight duo we're gonna get here? Um, which
It was
turned out
great.
I was way wrong about that, but for now, it was interesting.
Yeah, for now, it was great. I really liked even the trophy that they got, pirate sword with the scabbard. And I thought it was really nice for him to give it to Rupert, considering they quite literally were neck and neck. Like Rupert could have easily won that if he was like maybe a second ahead. And it was good to see Burton catch up right towards the end. And then you had flashbacks as a viewer towards like earlier in the episode where right after Burton joined them, Rupert was the first person to go up to him, talk to him, and say, "Hey, this is the reason why I voted you out." He was just frank with him, and I think that kind of also helped him pick Rupert as someone he would essentially end up giving his immunity to, outside of the fact that he was a very close second to him.
Rupert's social game is a roller coaster because he's he's very like he has these great moments that are building really strong bonds with people, but then we also see the like pure anger like lashing out of Rupert too, and the tiebreaker probably has been he like selflessly is like a provider for our tribe and has become vital to us living the luxurious lifestyle. But
No doubt.
it is crazy. Definitely a great a good episode for Rupert. Builds that relationship with by being honest, and it probably helps that it's like he's probably always honest, so he becomes believable. If he ever was to develop a plan with somebody, they're probably gonna believe him because it's Rupert.
Am I
So
forgetting wrong that Rupert never voted for Burton? Because he was
He wasn't
captured.
there. That's right. He was kidnapped.
So I feel like that should be. I feel like he could have used that to his advantage of being like, I didn't. When I saw you weren't back, I was like, what happened? I was like, I can't believe you were gone. I don't know. I felt like I was like, wait, what, did Burton forget that Rupert was truly just not there? Like he never took part of this vote? I just don't get I mean, right now they're doing good, but it feels like, there's some animosity going on with Burton and the whole Drake tribe as a whole, not just Drake minus Rupert.
I imagine the implication. I thought there were confessionals of Rupert thinking about getting Burton, but then he never got to act on them because he wasn't there. And Rupert's the de facto leader of the tribe, so it could be inferred that if the rest of them ended up voting for Burton, that that talks were already coming from Rupert about it. So
Okay.
so so maybe just regardless, he's just addressing it right now to his face immediately. If there's any animosity, then he gets it off his chest. And we heard like he actively was getting bothered by Burton and Sean, and I think he wanted to get it off his chest. Which it's risky. It's often better to not get it off your chest because you're gonna cause a scene. At the time, it looked like this was gonna be good for Rupert, though.
Yeah, I agree.
honestly, if it were me, I would have done the same thing. Get it off my chest. If it leads to something negative, I'll take that risk because I believe in the positive more than the negative in that case.
I like that.
I don't know. It's $1 million risk. I don't know. I don't know if I'd do it.
There's a
But it's
reason it's
okay,
a
you could
risk.
win 1,000,000 hearts.
Risk worth taking.
My goodness. So Burton is immune. Lillian's immune, and we get the full circle for Andrew Savage, who, unfortunately for him, didn't make Lillian feel part of the tribe before, and has not made her feel as part of the tribe now, and uh, the Drake tribe is able to sway Lillian to vote against Morgan. They actually use Burton as the person to kind of make the offer, which makes a lot of sense. They are bonded by being outcasts, and he literally, with his words, said he would be loyal to whomever the other person is. So this is good for Burton. It backs up his words, and it is the end of the involuntary leader of Morgan, Andrew,
What
as
a
he is
what a
voted out.
savage takedown, right? Like I remember this entire episode thinking that Andrew just came across as so angry in this episode, even if it like part of it felt repressed. And I was also reminded at the end of the previous episode where he was concerned about someone coming back more so than anyone else on the tribe. Like, he was getting pretty agitated about it. He was like, "Oh, if that little shit Ryan S comes back, we're immediately voting him back out, regardless of whatever they get." Like, he was into it, and to see it come back to bite him, I think he was getting a little too aggressive there, revealing his hand, and that's what led to his downfall.
For sure. Yeah, Andrew, I think it felt like he was doing well for a while, and then he ran out of steam and kind of lost control of the situation. The Outcast Twist is a big thing to adapt to, but you know what? The Drake story, they were able to adapt to it. They were able to get over it. So
They persevere.
I think it not as obvious a way, but Andrew brought it upon himself. Farewell, Andrew.
And that leads us to the second episode. And immediately following the aftermath, Andrew brings it back to the three other tribe member he had and was rooting for them, Rhino,
Rhino.
D, and T, as he called them. So good to see that he still had faith in his tribe members to carry on and eventually win.
Well,
Good to see
faith
that.
in most of his tribe members.
Yeah, we gotta
Yes,
take out Lil. Lil
with
was not
the
part of it.
exactly, with the exception of one who he might have had a small, little, tiny disagreement with. But anyways, going into the going into the next episode, I found myself wondering that, is this gonna lead to a string of eliminations for the Morgan tribe, right? Because, now that they've merged, the Drake tribe still has most of the strength. They still have that camaraderie that the Morgan tribe does not have. And it would be interesting to see how it carries over, especially after their leader gets eliminated. What are your thoughts?
It didn't look good for even in present day. Immediately, your first thought goes to, "Oh, is the new majority gonna pick off the minority one by one?" But unlike present day, you got no fancy idols to save you or to turn the tides. You barely got any advantages, if probably not any advantages at all. So it's immediately the three remaining Morgans, excluding Lillian, have to be viewed as underdogs. But you know what? They're not really very lovable underdogs because despite the dire situation, they're all just lounging around, not contributing to the tribe life at all. Seemingly not trying to really make any new alliances either.
No, they're completely keeping it to themselves, just hanging, laying there, sleeping. Meanwhile, everyone's working. There we see T, D, and a Rhino just hanging and just watching as they collect firewood, food, fishing. It's kind of interesting. It's such a different dynamic, and
Yeah.
that's why they were starving. It makes 1,000% sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty laid back person myself, but seeing that, you can't help but feel that they're dragging their feet and they need to do better in order to support everyone else, especially post merge, because it's now every man for himself. And Ryan, in his case, he immediately goes to Burton and starts to test the waters there. Just see, hey, who are we gonna put the target on? Who's looking awfully strong here. Maybe we should go after Rupert. And that is something that I've seen from Survivor 47, and I wasn't a fan of immediately coming out and then trying to put a target on someone, because we saw what that leads to. And I remember thinking that Ryan, he's just not playing his cards right. He's talking to someone, he's getting names out there. He doesn't know how much he can trust Burton, but he's really just taking a chance by getting into a dialogue with him and trying to see if Burton is willing to reciprocate. So it was just one of those things that, it just was not a good look for their tribe, but then also Ryan specifically.
Yeah, now there's not many options available to you, so I'm happy something was attempted. but this takes the social awareness to figure out what the most likely cracks to exploit are, and not only that, then you got to pick the right target. So the previous episode, the crack was obviously Lillian, and then the person that she would be easily persuaded to vote for is Andrew. It worked out because they wanted Andrew anyway, and the bada bing bada boom, easy. This is harder, but he makes an attempt. This episode, by the way, this is the one that's called Shocking, Simply Shocking, because Ryan is able to hunt successfully Stingray, and they're all like, "Oh,
Was that right? Wasn't it Burton?
I think
was it Burton?
I think
I
it
think it
was
was Burton.
Burton. Yeah, it was Burton because he was like,
Oh.
"Go touch it" to like Rupert, and Rupert touched it and was like shocked. And they touched it again. I'm like, guys, can we back it down here? Do you guys want to
Yeah,
die?
we need to keep the theme of Ryan and his tribe, Team Morgan. They don't do anything.
That's true.
Well, I mean, when it was only Morgan, Ryan, and Andrew sometimes tried to fish. It was just that they were unsuccessful fishing. But yeah, they all decide to. They're just amazed that the stingray can shock them, and they just keep touching it over and over again. I'm just like, man, this is why our race isn't going to survive long. We just it'd be like, oh, this is poisonous. Let me try it. Oh, it's good. That's weird. Let me try it again, and everyone dies.
Curiosity killed
Let
the
me give me
cat.
a little taste of that.
So we go to the first individual reward challenge, and it is called Signal Fire, as they use slingshots to break little like plates, and then that forces a fire to light up. Do it 3 times, and you advance to the final round, and then you try to win that way. Rupert somehow is just a natural. Like, he barely missed at all. Dominated.
Not even
his 4
surprised.
He
Not
was
even
so good.
surprised.
I was shocked.
At what point in his life did using a slingshot come up? Does he just have
He's like
innate instincts?
a jack of all trades. He's got
Hey,
everything.
troubled teens mentor. He might have helped some kids who played with some slingshots back in the day, so might have picked up some skills along the way.
Yeah, and swimming and stealing and
Fishing,
bartering, fishing,
good
all
social
that
game.
stuff. Yes, he's got everything. He's the
You
full
might as well just win
package.
right now.
Heck
We'll
yeah,
just
just
call
give
it.
him the $1 million, guys. Come on. If Rupert leaves, if Rupert gets eliminated and is not top 3, I may lose it. I might be very sad.
He's the current Saul for you, isn't he?
He's my guy. You know, I really like him. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, definitely feels like the fan favorite.
He
But
does seem to be getting better and better.
with regards to the challenge, this was the first challenge I saw, and I'm like, this is a fun challenge. What would it be like to try out something like this? This is the first challenge I could get behind that I myself would want to participate in.
Do you think you'll be good at it? Do you guys both
Oh,
think
heck
you guys
no.
would be good at it?
Absolutely not.
I would just be like Krista. It'll be like, oh my gosh, back it
Mm.
up. Back it up. Jeff is like, oh, I don't want to get hurt. Let me back away.
I think there's been a couple fun challenges. The thing that hurts the fun is like a lot of them are so strenuous that you'd be exhausted. And they were visibly like laughing, having a good time, and it helps when it's a reward challenge, of course, because it's not as stressful as fighting for immunity.
That just seemed to be the theme of the challenges of this episode in general. But I will tell you, if I was doing this challenge, while I don't think I would be that great, I might surprise myself. Who knows? I definitely feel like I would do better than Krista did. She was just looking like she was about to injure herself just firing the slingshot.
Yeah, injure herself, injure others. I feel like Jeff was a little harsh. She was around. It wasn't like she was off into the ocean firing them, but it wasn't great. I admit.
But what a
And
showing from Rupert, though. Just like the first round, immediately hits all 3 targets, first try. Again, great showing overall from him going into the second round. So the way this challenge works is you have 3 different groups, each going to hit the target. Whoever does it fastest amongst each group will then move on to the second round. Within that second round, those 3 are the finalists, and whoever can finish first will end up taking home the prize. In this case, the reward immunity. Well, it shouldn't even call it immunity, just a reward, I should say.
It's
And
breakfast on like a little island. I guess yeah, I guess island, just like
on an island. Yep,
a
exactly.
place that is probably covered at high tide.
And again, just like the other challenge with Rupert involved, it was just neck and neck. Lillian got to the second round along with him, and she had the early advantage, got up 2 plates to Rupert's 0, and then Rupert found that inner fire to remind himself, hey, I'm not someone who misses these things, and then immediately knocked the next 3 down.
Another win for Rupert. And at the time, I think this was offered. I guess we'll wait till next episode to see. I think at this point in Survivor, it's not so uncommon to be able to like give away your rewards. So Rupert is given the option to give away his reward, and he does give it to Burton, kind of as a thank you to handing him immunity. And then Burton has to pick somebody to go with them. And this is still true in present day. Like usually when you win a reward of some kind, you have to pick at least one person to join you on that reward. And so Burton chooses to bring Lillian. And now this is one of the, I'm going to count this as the first very active and in your face alliance we're seeing. Two-person alliance, Burton and Lillian. Makes sense from the Outcasts. They're plotting together, and we, the audience, are seeing them plot together. So, the duo of Burton and Lillian.
I like it because I like it and I also hate it. I like it because it's cool to see the 2 outcasts work together, and I think they could really do some blindsides, but I also hate it because they might blindside Rupert, and I cannot stand for it because that's what they're trying to do, try to take him down, and I don't like it. I don't like it whatsoever.
Yeah, we start getting whispers from a lot of different people about targeting Rupert. And even Burton is one of the major people who wants to get. So for all my impress of Rupert's social game, it might be reaching its limits of he's still an obvious target. Like simply like he's good at winning challenges. I want to win challenges. So for me to win challenges, I should vote out Rupert.
Yeah,
Yeah, as a
he's shown
player, it makes
himself
sense.
to be the clear threat, and I think it can only take you so far, right? He's doing all the little things, he's providing for the group as well, and while it would be terrible to not have him around, just to be able to keep the tribe fed and in good spirits, he's someone who really sticks out in that regard, that he's, I wouldn't say a challenge beast just yet, but he's, he's a big enough threat where you can count on him to win a couple of things and really steal immunity away from you if that's what you're going for. So no surprise that he's the top target.
Yep. And so after we hear a bunch of different people that are plotting, it's Lillian and Burton. They come up with a scheme to bring in include John and include
The girls
the
essentially.
Duana and Dara. Presumably, they would have be including Ryan in this plan too, and basically totally flip it onto. In fact, they actually wouldn't have even needed to include John if they didn't want to. Uh, but to flip it all on Rupert. But then separately, we also get Krista and Sandra also talking. And this is really coming from Krista specifically, but also floating out, eventually targeting Rupert. So that's very interesting. So we're left wondering, how is this going to play out? Immunity time. We go to the immunity challenge, and this one's called Mixed Nuts, and this type of challenge actually is its own category. So it's like you could call it like the coconut challenge, and usually it's usually some kind of it's either trivia or a question, some kind of questions being asked, whether it's trivia or not. And when you get it right, you get to put a strike on somebody else, and it was coconuts in this case, and eventually they get eliminated. And so often it could be used as a way to see what the tribal lines are right now, because obviously, like, who people target first could mean something. In this episode, everyone targeted Ryan immediately, and he was the first person gone. He would end up being the target at tribal council. So it's I I find myself not really enjoying this type of challenge, but it does let you see like what alliances or anti-alliances rivalries are out there.
I
I
agree. I think
yeah.
looking back in hindsight, I wouldn't see it as much of a memorable challenge, but I do like the aspect of having some variety thrown in where this challenge feels like it's more focused on brain rather than brawn. So I like that aspect of it and the ability to try to figure out, as you're mentioning, what are the priorities in terms of who are we looking to get out collectively as a group, depending on how many people get questions right. And it takes about 5 coconuts to eliminate someone. So it's not all on one person. Groups of people have to get questions right to be able to eliminate people one by one.
Yeah, I personally didn't I found this one a little lackluster. It's like it was trivia with the coconuts, and I guess you can see like who's on like whose side, but it also wasn't accurate because although Rhino was voted out first and stuff, in the end everyone's like not everyone, but the majority target was Rupert, but yet he didn't lose. So I don't find that accurate at all on that. So I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't enjoy it that much.
I don't like how if you are in the minority alliance, there will likely be nothing you can do to win this game because you can get every answer right, but like the people who are not in your alliance, like if there's in this case there's five no 6 versus 3 in theory because the Forum Morgan don't know like any other plans that might or may not be happening. So if even half of them get it right, so 3, all 3 of them will target you, and then next round that could happen again, and then you're out, and you only were there for 2 rounds, and there's no way to play defense in this game. So I don't really like it at all.
That's well said. I think to your point, being outnumbered really hits you hard for this challenge. And I don't like that aspect of it either. You really feel it with this one.
Now I could say get good, like you should have been a better social player to be in the majority alliance. And if that's your stance, I can accept it. I don't really have a counter to that.
No,
But
I'd
the
just
fact
say skill
remains,
issue.
yeah, skill issue.
Was like, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah. Precisely. Ultimately, we get some fun moments, but it's Rupert that wins again, and he will now. He's not that this time because remember this actually came up one time before when he was being targeted, and he was able to turn it immediately. So this time he never really finds out that he's might be a target, but it doesn't matter. He's immune, and without such an obvious target, this spells the end for Ryan because now he tries to spin up some kind of plan. Ultimately, it looks like Krista would have been the target, but when you're trying to, it was a much easier sell when it's like, oh, I actually don't, they don't really say things like big move in this era, but the big move, flashy move would be targeting Rupert. But Krista doesn't have the same flair to it. coming from someone who's already in the minority, so it's hard. Like, you need to give me a compelling reason to join your side, Ryan. And
Hmm.
he lost a good target to do that.
So at this point of Survivor history, are people like trying their best to make them look good? Like trying to make moves to be like, okay, I'm thinking of myself being the final three. I gotta look good. I gotta make moves. Do people think like that right now, or they're just like just trying to stay alive and take down people as they go?
It's
Uh,
cert Go ahead, Will.
from what I remember, through the first 6 seasons of the show, it things things like loyalty and challenge prowess tend to come up. So if you've
Okay.
been disloyal, that often hurts you, and if you were a loser in the challenges, never did anything, that can hurt you too. So those
It, it,
probably have, again, sample size of 6 because this is only season 7. Those have been two of the biggest things.
it feels
Gotcha.
like a turning point at this point in the season. So I think longer term, they are looking and seeing who they can get out. The way I took their dialogue, at least Team Drake's dialogue about Rupert, was more that they're planning on seeing him as a threat, not necessarily for this week. Like, they're not planning on eliminating him right away, but let's get into a dialogue for, hey, he's winning challenges, he's putting himself out there, he is a threat, so we're gonna have to be careful and try to eliminate him sooner rather than later.
And if I was there, like, oh yeah, Rupert is like a rock star, like 5-star athlete. Like, get him out of here immediately. He'll crush all of us. Is what I would be thinking. But he is a scary dude, so like it would be a little nerve wracking to create that plan at the risk of it getting back to Rupert, and then Rupert will confront me.
Oh
So
yeah, I would be scared after seeing how he yelled at John. I'd rather not. I wouldn't even look at him.
He's a man of mystery. And
That's
so
true. You'll never know what you're gonna get.
normally, this is where I would ask, what are you two looking forward to in the next episode? But I think sticking with the theme of this is actually the turning point, it feels like, of the season, I'm interested to hear, based on your grasp of all the survivors currently in the show, who do you think is going to make it the furthest? Who do you see winning the season so far?
You know, as much as you guys know I love Rupert, I fear he might not last long enough for the next 2 episodes, and if he did, something came up and either Burton or Lillian really messed up. Um, I right now, I see Burton and Lillian being the top 3. I feel like Burton would be an easy one to say. I'm gonna say Lillian. I'm gonna say Lillian's may be able to go far. Weirdly enough, I think because she does not pose a threat currently, or she doesn't seem like a threat, outward threat versus Burton is. So Burton's always gonna be shielding her, but Burton's always gonna work with her, and they have like a good they get to fluid around the old Morgan tribe and Drake tribe. So I feel like Lillian may be able to do better than what I initially thought she would do. That's what I'm gonna put down.
now let me know if
Inter-
this throws a wrench into things. I haven't mentioned it until now, but Jeff actually said it in this past episode after the merge. So he pointed out that, hey, like, this is the group that's gonna vote for a winner. 7 of you will be in the jury deciding between the other
Final
2
two.
on who's gonna win. So he's telling you that there actually will be not a final 3,
Oh.
but a final 2.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Wow. So I guess it's gonna be Burton and Lillian, the final 2. That's where it would be if Burton stays loyal or Lillian stays loyal. Well, they could go crazy and not do that, and try to outwit the other and then get the win. That would be crazy to be able to betray your most trusted and get to the top 2. That would be killer moves. That would be jury voting you right away. I think. I don't know, maybe during
Interesting.
that era, it's to look down upon being a traitor, but
What about your thoughts, Will, based on hopefully, like, I don't know how much you remember, but if you don't, just looking to get your take on who you feel could end up winning it all.
I won't reveal how much I remember. At this point, you'd have to be like all in on Rupert. I still think you would see what he's doing. He's also winning challenges. He's building relationships. He is a target for now, but pe- people just might not be brave enough to go against him. So and like you would think like when it's important he'll win. Like even if it comes down to Burton and Lillian, like he could just beat both of them and win. So at this exact moment, if I had no knowledge of the season, then I would still put my faith in Rupert.
I hope you're right. I really do.
Yeah, that would be nice to see. I personally like those shot in the dark picks that people tend to not expect. It's part of the reason why for the other season that we watched, I did choose wow, I'm blanking on her name. Uh do you remember who I
Like
picked for the other season? I
Amy.
Teeny, yes. I don't know
Yes.
why I was blanking on her name, but yes. I think in thinking about how this season has been going, what I'm looking at is not what's shown to us, but it's who's in the background, who's making the least amount of noise, but still doing meaningful things. And to me, it's Sandra. I think she's the one who I would have said
Really?
Krista as, yeah, I would have said Krista too, up until we got Rhino's response in terms of how like she's presenting herself. He didn't really take too kindly to her. Sandra from like the first few episodes didn't come across as making it that far, but I think at least these last few episodes, she's been playing pretty good. She's been like decently well. She's not winning the challenges, but she's holding her own. There's not really anyone who has anything against her, right? There's no one so far who I've seen who has any target on her back so far.
except John.
And
John has it out for her. Yeah.
yeah, but
But
I
who
I
listens to
I
him?
yeah, I don't think John is making it that far, but, I think at least for her, she's able to form meaningful connections. She's got it good with Rupert. She's got it good with Krista. I think she can connect well with the other girls. I think she can connect well with Lillian. The only question mark I have with her is Burton. So I think in terms of the social game, I do see her developing enough to be able to make it that far.
Oh, that's interesting because in my mind, I feel like Sandra I don't see much of Sandra. Like, I feel like she's just but I do think she does lay
That's
low,
that's exactly why I'm
but you're
thinking
right. Yeah, yeah, I
just
see what you're
kind of in the
saying.
background.
But I feel like once if Rupert does unfortunately get eliminated, I feel like that puts Sandra and Krista at a scramble mode of like, "Oh my gosh, our main person who is shielding us is gone. What's next?" And they have to find other people to work with to make
I'm
majority
banking
vote.
That's a very good observation. I'm banking on the fact that John gets eliminated before Rupert does.
I hope so. I do hope so.
It's funny. Is there anyone who you would give no chance, not in a million years, could win the season?
John,
Yeah, John.
I'm just hoping you pick whoever you pick is the winner, and then you'll feel like fools. But all right, I'll lock it in. Not in a million years. Johnny Fairplay.
you
And
you have to be
Dara.
a likable
Dara.
person, so I think, someone has to actually like, even if he makes it that far, someone has to vote for him, and people who get to know him do not seem to like him, so I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, nobody likes him. I feel like he's like the equivalent of Rome of 47, where you don't make alliances with John because you trust him. You make and because he's just so wild. He is just off his own thing. He's the jinx, you know?
Rome at least had a certain level of charisma that I don't think Johnny Fairplay has, but
That's
who
I'll
knows?
give
It's
it that.
maybe we haven't seen it yet.
Maybe. But all right, we did it. We're at the merge. We're in the end game now of the season. And it's one of these remaining 8 people. We got just so you in your mind, you can think about them this week. It could be in alphabetical order. It could be Burton. It could be Krista. It could be Dara. It could be John, Lillian, Rupert, Sandra, or Tawana. One of these people became a millionaire. And we'll have to keep watching to find out which one it is. But that's going to be the end for this episode. We're excited to plow through the merge here. Uh, there are some legendary moments to come. I can't wait to get to them.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Until we speak again, ciao.